Hello, everyone. We are going to do a quick stream. Well, I don't know, quick. We're going to play around in Neverwinter with their new content they have. They've got an area called Dragonbone Vale. Ooh. It's their latest module, and it continues on what I covered in the Echoes of Prophecy series. They've got good names, gotta give them that. Where it was all about dragons and dragons coming back. So that's kind of exciting. So yeah, let's see what they what this is all about. Is the Neverwinter campaign setting a bit, but especially taking in what's in Fizban's Treasury of Dragons. You can see the two covers here, both very, very good looking covers. Fun book. We've been covering it on the Mastering Dungeons podcast and getting into all the details of the dragon lore there. And so based largely on this, plus with a fair share of sort of old material, and then the Rise of Tiamat and Horde of the Dragon Queen adventures that came out, taking all of these materials, pulling them together into a neat experience. And one of the things you might have seen, from the title screen is these banners, if you happen to recognize them because you're a lore fiend like I am. Those are the banners that belong to the factions of Neverwinter, -1. And this happened last time when we were talking about the Echoes of Prophecy series that they did. They took out the Zentarum. So if you look at those flags, on the left is the Harpers. Then we have Emerald Enclave, that stag there. We have the Lord's Alliance, and then the Order of the Gauntlet. And they took out the Zentarum. So where is the Black Network? Why are those spies and nefarious groups not there? They don't say. Like, nothing in the content has said, yeah, sorry, we couldn't get the Zentarum together. It's as if we're not supposed to notice. I don't know why that is. That's all very interesting. But we're going to take a look at this content here. Content. I hate the word content. We're going to take a look at what they've done. What has Neverwinter done with this game? And we'll start in our good old Protector's Enclave. This is the city, Neverwinter in this area called Protector's Enclave. And I've already taken the quest from Sergeant Knox. He's the one who gives us cool missions and things like that, sends us out around the world. And I already took the quest, which says, hey, go to Dragonbone Vale. So let's do that. Map quest. This is, if you've seen any of my streams before, you know what this looks like. A little magnifying glass zooming in on this little dot here. And you can see all these various places that we've been to in other streams. Not all of them, but most of them. And we have a new zone here called Dragonbone Vale. And I'm always super curious where they put this on the map and why. And sometimes I swear they just put a thing because it's like not a cluttered area. And that may be the case here. I've never heard of Dragonbone Vale. I did a quick search for the almighty Forgotten Realms wiki. It covers things. There's no Dragonbone Vale other than to say that Neverwinter had some content. So, yeah. So Dragonbone Vale is a sort of new zone that I guess is located around here, maybe. But it's hard to say. Ebon Downs really should be somewhere here, like, right around there. It makes no sense that it's way down here. As far as I can tell. So you can never be entirely sure where things are on the map, but this is where they've placed it. It's possible, I suppose. And this is an area that is really quite beautiful. Like, it looks great. It's a fantastic looking location on the world. Oh yeah, we get a cutscene because it's the first time that I've come here with this character. Straightforward. Yeah, okay. Not too much as cutscenes go. I just want to check here. Yep, that's okay there. There are a couple of things kind of going on in my life that are pretty big. This has been a really big week for me. I released a Patreon and a Ko-fi. It's the same thing. Ko-fi gives me more money. Patreon's more convenient for most folks, but they both offer memberships. And this is really designed to hopefully appeal to people who want to support me for the D&D materials that I'm creating. And I've been just overwhelmed with how many people have been supporting that. Very, very, very thankful. It's amazing. And I'm hoping to do some different types of streams. So maybe that's not wonderful news for the Neverwinter folks, but hopefully it is too, because you like lore, and there'll be some aspects of role-playing games and the hobby there. So it's been a huge week for me, really exciting, really fun. And then I also released a new product that's all about magic items and how to use them, which was based off of what I did on a podcast that I did on what's called Dragon Talk, the official Dungeons & Dragons podcast with host Shelly Mazanoble. Really fun. I even got to see Greg Tito for a few minutes before he ran off. It's wonderful being there. All right, so that's kind of why this week's been awesome, and also that I'm testing this to make sure that if you're a member of my Patreon, you get a feed in the announcements channel networked and all these kinds of things. And yeah, so a lot going on as I try to get better at the streaming thing. And I'm thankful to everybody who watches these videos, because there's been sort of a way that I've been able to get a little more like relaxed with streaming and everything. But let's now get into the lore of this new place. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous area, a really nice map. Really fun. I find that all this everything that's here really stimulates my creativity. The quests, I mean, they're MMO quests, right? Sometimes they're a little bit silly, but there's some nice lore behind them and some interesting pieces. And what better way to start off that's super lore heavy than talking to Elminster? I mean, he is the probably most powerful mage in the realms.
Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you too.
Is not so dire. I'd request you indulge me in some idle banter.
Oh, fresh out of idle banter. All right, so I was told to come here. That's the quest I'm kind of completing to say hi to him.
To join our efforts in the Dragonbone Vale, I see. I trust the journey wasn't too.
This mentions Gisentraxia, which was a dragon. I'm forgetting what she was. Brass dragon, maybe, that was along the coast of Neverwinter, and we did some quests as part of the Echoes of Prophecy area. Not somebody that exists in history, so this is a Neverwinter-only dragon NPC that's been created.
Let me know when you're settled in.
So we're just kind of getting started here, and now Elminster is going to tell us what we're really up to here. If you remember, and I'll just kind of quickly summarize what Echoes of Prophecy was about. It was the idea that the Cult of the Dragon had sort of come back from being vanquished in the official adventures and also in Neverwinter. And they had a plan to take the sort of magic energies that are from the Shadowvar, the Realm of Shadow version of the Netherese, and take those dark energies and force them into the ritual that turns a dragon into a Dracolich. So you ended up with sort of a Shadow Dracolich, which you might think is like a Shadow Dragon, but I guess it's like a Shadow Dragon / Dracolich. It's not entirely clear because we stopped their plan. But that was the nefarious thing they were up to, which seems to suggest that much of the cult of the dragon is back to the idea of bringing back dragons as undead, rather than the other interpretation of the prophecy, which took place in the books for 5th edition, the Horde of Tiamat that we've talked about, and Horde of the Dragon Queen, and Rise of Tiamat. There we go. Those are the names. In those books, the idea is that this new faction in the cult is coming out, and they're saying, no, we need live dragons, and we need to bring Tiamat out, which was actually sort of an idea that Tiamat gave a person called Severin. And we'll see more about Severin later. So let's see what Elminster says.
This encampment is the center of operations for our grand alliance between the factions of Faerun.
Okay, so the factions are here in this camping area, and we're calling it the Shield of the North. Cool. Came up with a good title. Good job, Elminster. And I like the joke about how it was hard to get them to agree on a name. I've been in a lot of those kinds of meetings. Various NPCs that we know from previous adventures are doing things here. And they will basically act as sort of representatives of the factions. They're a little bit of a strange pick, but okay, whatever.
Now, what little we know of the Dragonbone Vale comes from Gisentraxia. Ridges divide this region into 4 distinct
4 neighborhoods.
Etrian,
and then you can see the NPCs have gone to these different ones. Etrian, who's part of the Avernus storyline, was an NPC introduced then. She's with the Emerald Enclave in Whetstone Thicket. Sergeant Knox and the Lord's Alliance have set up in Dwarven Ruins of Quellwater Tarn. Order of the Gauntlet can be found with Celeste in Wormbone Marrows. Good name. A rocky landscape covered with dragon remains. And then there's an area beyond it with a wall of corruption called Scaleblight Summit. Never good when the foe can seal off the whole area. And there is a Mythalar there. So Mythalars we talked about last time. This is a device that is beyond just what you would call an artifact. It's super, super powerful and can distort all kinds of things, magic-wise. So that's a major problem that's what's going on. So we've spoken to Ilminster. Now we go and speak to what we're told is Gisantraxia, but Gisantraxia looks very different last time, being a brass dragon.
A warm welcome to you, friend. It is indeed I, Gisantraxia, the dragon who assisted.
So we learned in the last time that her mate Halhavorithon was missing, and said to me maybe in the Well of the Dragons, but apparently somewhere around here. So it's personal, not just business for Gisantraxia that we find things. So now we're given this idea to talk to the factions. So we're going to go over here and talk to the Emerald Enclave. For whatever reason, Kavatos is the NPC there. He is an arcane caster, not like a nature guy at all. It's absolutely weird that he's here. But what he is doing is researching these dragon bones, and he talks about a strange phenomena called dragon sight. And this is something that comes out in Fizban's Treasury of Dragons, this book. The idea that dragons stretch across the multiverse, the various planes of existence that are prime material planes. So alternate, it's almost like alternate Earths, but really in D&D what we're talking about is that you can have like the Forgotten Realms, and you can have a world called Greyhawk and a world called Eberron and a world called Dark Sun and all of that, and that a dragon could exist as echoes in all these different areas. Dragon sight in Fizban's is the idea that a dragon can sometimes see into these other realities and learn about them, especially as they become ancient dragons. And once they realize that there are these other parallels, they want to naturally find them and sort of bond with them and become super, super powerful. So the strongest dragons in all of the storylines are these dragons that have found echoes of themselves and brought together. How much you like that story? Like, I love it as an adventure. I don't super love it as a lore, but here we're going to find they interpret it in a different way. So that right now it's just a phenomenon. And we're supposed to go and find some of these strange devices that allow you to essentially get a view of where draconic artifacts are hidden. That's not dragon sight at all, but okay. Maybe the idea is that sort of the artifacts are from another world or something, and so that's the only way we see them. Okay, it's a little weird. And then we have to go, report to a camp, basically. We can see that because this is the Emerald Enclave, they tend gardens. Okay, that's kind of funny. Then we can go over here, and we can see where the Order of the Lord's Alliance are here. This is the group of all the different kind of kingdoms along the Sword Coast. And we meet with these guys, and this is sort of fun. They've introduced a new thing into the game where you basically have a grapple hook. So they're like, hey, take this grapple hook and go use it. So now we run off here, and you see that kind of yellow thing there. We can come up and make it green, and we hit our F key, and zoop, we grapple up. That's brand new to the game, and kind of cool. And then we get a little reward of like, yay, we did this. I don't even know what the reward was, but we got something. So you'll see that this is a way that you can sort of zip around and go to like higher places. It's a fine idea. It's a little bit silly, a little bit, but also kind of cool. It's sort of enjoyable to move around the zones. Yeah, it's magically enhanced, so that's why it explains the sort of like ridiculous, almost flight-like ability we can do it. Defies physics, never misses its target. So sure, good magic. Well, magic is how we explain bizarreness in computer games. So I'm down with that. I really am. All right, here's another camp. Do we have anybody to meet with? No, not yet. Okay, we need to go speak with Zuna. So War Camp is the general camp. Here is kind of coded as the Harpers. But we get to come here, and she says basically, you can join one of these factions to sort of get extra benefit from them. And that there's a corruption going throughout Dragonbone Vale, and is putting energy into the Mythalar. So corrupting natural life, pouring it into Mythalar, bad. You gotta come in and do stuff. escort supply wagons. This is like a repeating thing that's part of a heroic encounter, so sort of multiplayer type thing. To take a supply wagon, escort it, and protect it. And then we have to pledge ourselves to a group, so we can get to join either the Lord's Alliance, the Order of the Gauntlet, or the Emerald Enclave. I chose Emerald Enclave with one of my other characters because I'm an environmentalist, but here, maybe for this character, I'll do the Order of the Gauntlet. And I get rewarded for that, and then I get some weekly bonus type quest stuff. Alright, so that's all just kind of, mechanic-y stuff. We're going to say, Ilmister's like, good job, you checked out a camp.
Good to see you,
Attaboy.
I see you've made your presence known. Yes.
There's a campaign that you kind of go through, and you get rewards as you do it, and you get kind of faction points with different factions for doing stuff. Well, let's go take a quick look around the various camps. Let's see, I joined the... I'm supposed to go talk. Let's see. Where am I supposed to go? I'm supposed to go. So let's look at the organization. So this is, we told there are 4 zones. There are 3 zones that are kind of immediately accessible. This is the area with the Emerald Enclave. This is the area with the Lord's Alliance. And this is the Order of the Gauntlet, the one that I pledged to. We have little places where we can send, meet the NPCs that are sort of at the beginning. You can talk to them. And then you can send off supply wagons. And then this is the area that's been kind of corrupted and closed off. So I think maybe we're just going to do one quick zone today. So I think I'll start with the one that I've pledged allegiance to and go over this way. And it's just one of the things we're going to just take in the terrain. So look, already here, like we can see this cool dragon skeleton off there. It's really neat. And the terrain is beautiful. It also looks like, you're often like, oh, look, I can go this way. And sometimes you kind of can, but then you can't. So I always want to be able to like explore all these weird places and think like, oh, I can come up here and I can get to the dragon. Can I? I don't know. Maybe I can get to some of it. Yeah, there we go. That's kind of cool. Really neat looking. And you can, I guess, walk its bones, but then you start falling and you can't get there. All right. But it is super cool looking. And the other thing is, as I'm going, I can be scanning to see if I see any little yellow or green markers that show that I could grapple up somewhere. But that does not seem like it's the case here. Cool, nice look. Oh yeah, I forgot to show you that the back. How far away am I from? Not that far away. Anyway, you can see the camp. If you look in the other direction, I won't do it now, but if you look in the other direction from where we started, you can see all the armies sort of gathered in the distance, our armies, which is kind of cool. I love this huge causeway. Reminds me of one that appears in the Princes of Elemental Evil. But that's really cool. So this is this dwarven bridge that was built long ago. Dwarves love to go into mouths of giant faces, don't they? And we saw there was a little grapple hook thing, so we could, go up there and grapple, but we'll do that later. Let's kind of get to the Horde camp. Cool magical thing. And yeah, Wormbow Marrow. So we get, as usual, lore that they give us. So apparently some dragon was revered by the dwarves of this area, Keldagon. But they so loved their mate that they practiced necromancy, and that's how Dragonbone Vale got its name. Ooh, okay. I got dark fast. So yeah, look at this. Pretty neat looking, right? So this confirms what we've long believed, which is that the Thayans believe in strip mining. Boycott the Thayans, please. But yeah, it is a really cool looking zone. Totally awesome looking. The kind of thing that if this is the kind of thing that I always like to think to myself, how would I explain this to the players, right? You step over this rocky outcropping and, the rocks and dust are crumbling down below, and you see this dry rock and this excavation that's taken place, these tiers, as someone has dug down, and there are bones all throughout that have been revealed by whoever's excavating this. And you get closer and see that, oh, hey, look, it's the Thayans. Spoiler. But yeah, let's start with this. So here's this. This is the supply run that we can do, though I'm not going to do it now. And then we find our friend Celeste, another NPC.
I never expected to see a Mythalar in my lifetime.
Yeah, I know what you mean. This is
Be mindful
Celeste.
where you step in Wormbone Marrow's friend. There is more at play here than we expected. Thayans recently emerged from Scale
Thayans
Blight
confirmed.
Summit. Yes, I said Thayans. They're scouring the area for resources and creating malignant conduits.
Okay. So yeah, malignant conduits, digging out bones, that's all bad. So we're going to gather tools that the Thayans are using to exhume draconic remains to scale Blight Summit for using their malignant artifacts. We want to slow them down, and then just generally murder some Thayans because they're bad, because they're causing so much trouble. Yep, typical kind of quest stuff. But let's, look a little bit about the lore that's going on here, because, okay, so why Thayans? Thayans are some of the main foes that of Neverwinter, historically speaking. And this somewhat has to do with the history of Neverwinter and the history of Luskan to the north. And that links into kind of very ancient history about why the Thayans did various things, or actually really why the Shadowvar were doing different things. And then when I really was just to say the Netherese. So Netherese people long ago, some of them when they were leaving went to areas on the coast to get away from the evil they were fighting. And they did things like play a big part in what was going on with Neverwinter, or create the arcane tower in Luskan, and all of this kind of created involvement. The Thayans also have been super interested in everything that the ancient Netherese did, so they have often come and been involved in that. The Thayans are super into necromancy as well as other types of magic, are always seeking powerful ancient magics, and they are very curious about what the Netherese and the Shadowvar know. This echoes of prophecy that we did before this that led to this adventure, this module that they've released. It was all about extremely powerful magic such as Mythalar, and it tied into areas where the Shadowvar or Netherese and the Thayans had been interacting. So there's no surprise at all that they're here. Netherese want to take over Neverwinter. They're into all these kinds of subjects, so it does not shock us that they're here. The real question is, what are they doing? Because last we were checking in, it was really around the Cult of the Dragon. So what's going on there? But the Cult of the Dragon and Thayans have worked together in the past, so maybe they're doing so again. So now what we do is we get to kind of go down and do these various missions. But I'll show you something else we can do, which is we can use our little grappling hook, and we can kind of zip around the area, and we can find things like these artifacts that we were told about by Kavatos. So this is this so-called dragon site that the game has. It's a little bit, it's a lot not at all in the spirit of what's in Fizzbands, but it's fine. Hey, any DM gets to take what they read in a book and interpret it, right? So the way this works is you look through this sort of artifact, which lets you perceive dragon sight, and now you see this like kind of weird colored thing there, and that beam of light indicates the location of a kind of cache that maybe a dragon stored long ago or some sort of thing like that. So we can run around and go get it. So we're going to go through this dig site and just kind of quickly see what we got. I should also say some other things that are here because we'll probably encounter them. But there are lots of, kind of Thayan foes and stuff like that that we'll encounter. Also, in certain places, there are bosses. I don't remember where they all are, studied all that. But when you find these bosses, they're sort of, more powerful than usual. And they have kind of cool stories behind them and all that. I think one of them we'll be able to possibly find when we go up around here. So, really cool looking location, that's for sure. And we can just jump up here. I think, this is... One of the bosses is in this location, though. It looks... Oh, yeah, there he is. It's over near the Lost. One thing that's neat is each of these kind of boss types, they drop kind of a fun treasure, but they also have, like, a story about them. So you can see this guy's... It's cool, like a frost giant. He's beating me up. He's undead, and lots of neat stuff going on. And, send that at him, and, enjoy that. Not today. Ognier the Lost. You are dead. Oh, yeah. So as I said, we get lore. They still haven't fixed this thing where the lore doesn't pop up, but you can see, you know, Frost Giant Adventurer wandered the cold peaks of the Sword Mountains, became lost for weeks, came here and he collapsed, and then the Scalebright Mythal corrupted him and turned him into an undead guardian. So, very cool. And we get like a fallen adventurer that we get to loot. Treasure chest that we get to loot. All the loots. That apparently has already been looted. And then we get to this little thing that we found. This is our Dragon Sight treasure. And from these things we can get all kinds of different rewards. I got these dragon jewels, but you can also get other things as well. So that's kind of how this works. We go around these neat looking areas. We can zip around on the grappling hooks. This one, you know, is where you can get up to where I am right now by doing it. Let's go see another Dragon Sight treasure. And we'll probably end after that. Yes, one thing that's tough is you can't get to exactly. Oh yeah, look, all the way there. Woo! Oh, there's a bad guy here. So Thay, an illusionist, kind of cool. He conjures his mirror images, so he's got duplicates of himself. And then we have this Bone Drake, very cool looking. I like that Bone Drake. Look at that whirlwind of trouble that it causes. Very cool. I like that idea of a creature that sort of spins around. So I got some excavation tools, which is one of the things we're supposed to do. I'm supposed to do for my general quests. And you know, the other thing we're going to see here is, so these are all Thayans, but in other areas we're going to see the Cult of the Dragon being active. And you know, when I'm playing these games, I'm always curious, like, okay, what's the story that's going on here? Because these stories aren't just like the cryptic team that makes this game. They talk to the people who are in D&D, and they get, you know, approval for these various storylines. So it's not like done in a vacuum. So whatever they came up with was something they'd already said, yeah, okay, that works. You know, that we're good with that. So you know, it's got a semi-official kind of bent in that at least someone said, yeah, this can be an expression of our game. We're okay with this, and that's pretty neat. I've been able to meet some of the people that work on the Wizards of the Coast team with the Neverwinter cryptic people. I like that. This tells me that this is a gem dragon, one of the types of dragons that are just been reintroduced into 5th edition. That's kind of cool. Glowing purple there. So yeah, so we'll take out these bad guys and we'll look at another Dragon Sight treasure. The character's barely one of my more powerful characters, so he does a good job of sort of shredding through these. We're going to look through this Dragon Sight artifact. Each of the zones has 3 of them. Oh, that one's really close. That's easy. And we'll hop down here and go check that out. Yeah, we got some sort of like alloy, which is used in like restoring weapons. And yeah, that's kind of it. There's, you know, skeletal archers and fans of various types that are doing things, and you're completing quests and working in this really cool, neat looking area. So yeah, each of these zones will have 3 Dragon Sight locations. When you're done doing a set of quests, 2 quests at a time, and you can, you know, go, shot at, I'm gonna run away. Then you can turn them in and get another 2 quests, and just sort of repeat till you reach the weekly maximum for doing quests. Kind of the way it works. Back to Celeste. You'll see she gives me another 2.
You brought back. We've got a little breathing room now that you're trained.
Yeah,
Thayans.
did right.
Like a contingent of our
Save clerics who've been captured,
the cleansing
and replace broken cleansing. Alright, that's cool. That's pretty neat. You see we get various rewards and gear and things like that. That's all fine. There you have it. A little bit of the lore of this area. Brand new zone that hasn't really been detailed for the Forgotten Realms, but using heavily the lore of the past of Thayans. We haven't seen any Shadowvar yet, though that was in the previous area, and I won't be shocked if we get with some of it here. The factions coming back and playing a very strong role again, other than the Zentarum, who are missing in action. I'm curious what that means. Anything like, is that anything that we're going to see in official 5th edition books, that the Zentarum are off doing something else? I don't know. All very interesting to me. So we'll stop here and we'll do some more next time. And if you enjoyed this, please consider supporting me. You can find my creations, for example, the rules for collaborative campaign creation, on Drive-Thru RPG. And on the DM's Guild, you can find other work that I've done. And in fact, I have a brand new book. I haven't updated this yet. I will this week. I have a brand new book that's all about magic items. The Game Master's Guide to Evolving Magic Items. You can find all of these things through alphastream.org. That's my main website. And after this, you can go to see all of my videos that are found on YouTube. Thank you so very much.